We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Now. Jared, you there?
Yes, I am.
We're live.
Oh, I was enjoying the show on the watch page.
Well, you're kind of in charge of what's going on here.
Well, it is your channel. I was allowing you to do the intros. I'm
Oh.
here to moderate the debate to make sure that
Okay, I'll introduce what's going on then. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been an awesome week so far. The 3 videos I've had with Brainy Beaver on Monday, Radical on Tuesday, and then yesterday me and Team Skeptic did a Nathan off to find out the most stupid Nathan. If you haven't seen those videos, please go check them out. Tonight I have Lookapig, a producer of this show. You know who Lookapig is. He helps out a lot. He's found Lemonbird for me to debate. I've not spoken to Lemonbird before, so I don't really know what to expect. So I'm going to hand it over to Jared now to moderate the debate and be in charge of the channel for the rest of the night.
All right, Craig, you are in for a treat because Lemonbird, otherwise known as Rave, he's a special one. And as a matter of fact, since this is going to be quite the debate, and before going live, we already talked about it, let's let Lemonbird introduce himself to get things started.
Well, I'm Lemonbird, and when life gives you lemons, you make birds. And looks like the flat Earth could have something to it.
Okay. Is that as much as an intro
Right.
as we're getting?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we'll just get straight into it then.
Yeah. So do you want to stick with that? Well, how formal do you want this debate to be?
Well,
is the question between the two.
Formal, and it can relax after that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to do like an introduction as to why you think the Earth is flat?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and let's kick this off by you explaining why you believe the Earth is flat. Your best descriptions and evidences for your position, and then Craig will give his, and then we will let the free flow rebuttal phase happen. Sound good?
Sounds good. All right. You can't have pressure in on the Earth without invoking gravity. Usually, you have pressurized containers that are enclosed, which leads to the possibility of a flat surface covered by a dome firmament. Gravity just doesn't make sense as curvature of space time or something pulling us through space. If you've ever swung anybody around you like a little kid or something, you swing them around you, their orientation relative to you remains fixed. That's the way that gravity would pull objects. If gravity was doing any sort of pull at all, it would maintain an orientation toward the object doing the pulling, and no sort of spin around the axis would be possible because you have two poles that are in opposition to each other. A spin that's going one direction and a pull toward the object that's going in another. So a spin around the axis would not be possible. Otherwise, you could spin somebody around you, and they would be, spinning around on their, on an imaginary axis while you're spinning, somebody around you. Other than that, NASA's videos look like they have layers of digital manipulation and photo editing. It may be real data, but they may choose to wrap it around a deceptive globe model that does not comport with actual reality when you look with your eyes. What else is there? And the deception may be perpetrated by essentially Luciferian Satanists who want to draw people away from the creator God in his obvious handiwork toward science and making science God instead of the creator God.
Okay.
All right. Before we continue, I would just like to ask a clarifying question. Lemonbird, you do understand what a piece of evidence is, correct?
Something you can see.
Or prove or substantiate. So if you're using a potential or possible, should that really be in your list of evidence?
Well, for physical potential evidence, it would be laser tests that do not appear to show curved land falling away. Infrared imaging, which shows 1,000 miles up to 1,000 miles of visibility over a seemingly flat plane, and just logic.
Okay, right. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. First question is, do you know what a pressure gradient is?
As the pressure goes up, the pressure gets less and less going up toward the dome, starting the pressure column.
Okay. Explain to me how there is a pressure gradient within an enclosed system like that.
Well, also the electric potential goes up as you go up further and further up in the atmosphere. There may be some sort of electrical excitation of the gases.
There may
that may
be.
lead
So
to
you're at this point you're just postulating. You're saying I don't really want to hear there may be. Throughout this debate, I would like you to only say things that you know to be fact. I don't want you to say things like it may be this or that may be something, because I'm going to jump straight in and go, well, no, you can't use that as an argument, because if you don't know, then you don't know, and I do, and that's where I draw the line. So a pressure gradient cannot exist like that.
Do you know whether or not the container is at saturation? Because if the container is not at saturation, with say living organisms at the bottom of said column, there may be something totally different going on at the bottom of the column.
Again, you've just said there may be. You've just said there may be something different. I'm not accepting that. I don't want to hear there may be this, because
and that it has to be uniform in a container, but that may be a bad assumption.
Okay, well, I'm going to ignore it because it is an assumption. The fact is, if we were in an enclosed system like that, then there wouldn't be a pressure gradient, and there is. But that is irrelevant, because you keep saying that there can't be a pressurized system next to a non-pressurized system without a barrier. Mm-hmm. Bullshit. How does an airplane make lift?
It moves the air and creates a pressure differential by the movement.
It has a pressure gradient. There is high pressure and there is low pressure. Okay, next question. Tell me how a storm is made. What's the difference between where there's storm and where there's not storm?
I would have to speculate. The storm probably gets started by a mixture of moisture evaporating.
Right, okay, you're speculating, so I'm just going to cut in there. The main difference is that there is another pressure gradient. You've got high pressure and you've got low pressure. There's your pressure gradient. There's your high pressure and your low pressure system next to each other without a container. That is now 2 examples of what you've asked me. But again, that's irrelevant because we have a pressure gradient.
You're assuming that nothing else can move the air inside the container. You have living organisms inside the container that are transpiring and respirating at the bottom of the pressure column, for one. And another thing, we have the electric potential that increases as you go up, which may excite the gases in different ways. There may be a bunch of different interactions here that we are not factoring in.
Maybe. Again, maybe. You don't know. See, I can explain exactly how the pressure gradient is created on Earth. And you know what? I am going to invoke gravity because gravity is a perfect explanation. Right? Before we argue about gravity, I want to ask you one question. Do you agree that there is a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared?
I would go to the medium. I would agree, yes, but I'd say that that's from the medium. It's not from a force pulling to the center of a ball.
Right. Okay. The problem is that there's
notion has to be thrown out.
Right. The problem is that it's 9.8 meters per second squared. Right. What that squared means is accelerating. Acceleration requires a force. So
acceleration can occur if you go down through the medium, and there are more.
No, because there's no force. Acceleration.
They're having a collective force as you go downward through the medium.
Right. So okay. All right. Let's talk about the medium thing. Right.
Without gravity.
So right, you say for. So I'm assuming what you're saying is the reason something falls is because the medium below it is less denser than the thing, right?
It's an interaction between the object in the medium and the medium it's in, be it air, ether, water, whatever.
Okay, so is it because the medium is less dense than the object? Is that the reason that you would say it falls? Yes or no would do there,
I would
please.
say yes.
Right,
I would
okay.
say yes.
Well, okay, I'm just going to tear that apart then, because the medium above it is even less dense. So if it is moving through a medium to the next level of density or whatever, it's actually going to go up. According to your logic, if it is falling through the thing with less density, it's not going to go down, it's going to go up. And I don't know about you, but when I let go of something, it doesn't float. It goes down at a constant acceleration of 9.8 meters per second squared. Unless you can give me another explanation for a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared, then you don't have an argument. Because I've just explained why your argument is rubbish, using your own logic.
Is it the density of the air or the density of the ether that's causing us
Well,
to
the
fall?
ether doesn't exist.
The ether does exist.
No, the ether 100% doesn't exist, and you can watch
in the Michelson-Morley experiment.
Funny that, because I did a video.
30 miles kilometers
I
per
did
hour.
I did a video. Lemonbird, stop, Lemonbird.
They breathe over as they try to throw out the
Lemonbird,
ether.
stop.
Gavel to both of you. Lemon, when you make a point, you need to stop flapping your lips so you can listen to the counter.
Okay.
Continuing to talk will not be tolerated by either of you. I understand your frustration, Fight, but both ways. When you make a point, you have to allow the other person to counter it.
Right.
Lemon, you brought up the ether and some of these experiments. Please listen to the counter that is being proposed to you.
Right. As explained in the videos that I posted on my channel, the Michelson-Morley experiment did not prove an ether. In fact, it did the complete opposite.
At 30 kilometers an hour, it did not. At 1 to 10, it did.
No. You really need to research what actually happened and what the actual conclusion of the Michelson-Morley experiment was and what the conclusion led to. Do you know what the conclusion of the Michelson-Morley experiment led to? It led to Albert Einstein being able to integrate everything into relativity. Now, wait, I haven't finished my point. Michelson-Morley said that it didn't find an ether. Michelson-Morley were the ones that conducted the experiment. Michelson-Morley were the one that planned the experiment. Michelson-Morley were the ones that wrote the papers that were peer-reviewed and looked at by everybody that showed that it didn't prove the ether. Okay, the Michelson-Morley experiment is basically a scaled-down version of the massive LIGO detector that we've used to create to detect gravitational waves. Now, the Michelson-Morley experiment did not detect ether, and the LIGO detector is evidence of that because it is, and it's essentially the same thing. So no, the ether doesn't exist. And we can go to Airy's failure to also look at the ether didn't exist, because that also proved that light didn't change when it was traveling through the medium of space, and it proved that you didn't.
That's only because we're not moving. The only thing
no, we are moving, and it proved that through the way that the light was detected, and that we are the things that are moving through space because of the parallax shift. And the only explanation for the parallax shift the way that the light was moving is that we are the things that are moving, because we already know that the ether doesn't exist. Okay, so we have proof that we are the things that are moving around the sun. And if you're going to say that we're not, then you're going to have to explain things like the Perseid meteor showers, which we can accurately predict every year as we pass through that area of space. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, heliocentrics need to explain why we have perfectly circular star paths. You only have that if you have one motion. Either the stars are moving above us in a perfectly circular, or the Earth is moving below the stars in a perfectly circular array. So either the Earth is moving or the stars. Most likely, the stars are moving, and we are not. Otherwise, you do not get perfectly circular star paths.
Yeah, you do. Of course, you get perfectly circular star patterns, right? The North Star is a star that is, in relation to us, relatively still, traveling through the Milky Way at the same speed as us. Its axis is in line with us. So when we look at it, it appears everything rotates around that point. And you also get the same with Sigma Montanus in the southern hemisphere, which then you see it rotating in the opposite direction, which is 100% impossible on a flat Earth.
I would go with the pole star existing, but the southern pole star, I think it's at best a nodal point from great distance in rotation, like the train tracks. I
No.
would venture to be paranoid and say that the southern pole does not exist.
Well,
At
you
best,
can.
it is a nodal point like train tracks converging in the distance that's passed off as some sort of a pole.
Well, you're completely wrong. I routinely speak with people in the southern hemisphere, and I can guarantee you that there is a point at which stars circle around a central point, which just happens to go in the opposite direction of the northern hemisphere, which cannot be explained on a flat Earth. Unless you
can
invoke some
explain the
kind of magical bending of light that doesn't exist, of course.
Well, like bands of rotation of stars, if they're rotating around us, if the bands get big enough, they will appear to bend down toward the horizon like the train tracks. If the stars are circling above us, above or around the dome, say, and the bands of rotation get large enough, they will appear to bend down to the horizon from great distance like the train tracks.
So why is it
And
different
that
for the
gives you
North
your
Star?
opposite rotation there.
What
was that?
Why is it different to the North Star to the South?
On the flat model, the North Pole is basically
on the what?
the
Sorry,
innermost.
did you just say flat model? Can I see it?
Yeah. The flat model is the general layout currently is the North Pole is in the center, with the northern region centermost, with a small rotation of stars in that region because they're right above you and they have a small circle that they're making.
That's not a model. A model is
the
something
bands
that
of
accurately.
concentric rotation will get wider and wider, and for a little ant on the Earth, looking at these great bands of rotation, depending on how you look, that band of rotation will no longer go in sync with its actual rotation. It will appear to bend down toward the horizon and effectively reverse.
Okay, point of order there. You're not using the word model in the same way that everyone else in the world uses the word model. A model is not what you've just said. A model is something that accurately purports with reality, including distances and all the physics that we experience. There is no flat Earth model. So please don't say those words unless you're going to present me with something that I can 100% use to navigate around this world without crashing into a mountain and dying, okay? So there isn't any such thing.
Well, the distances aren't there. I can't give you the distance to the Antarctic edge, but the general layout is there. The central North Pole with the continents radiating out, surrounded by water and an Antarctic ice wall, with the firmament touching down somewhere beyond. That is the general layout. There's the waters above of creation. I go with the biblical flat Earth model, and the waters below, limitless water in the deep with the Earth on some sort of pillars. Topography, Earth topography, seismic topography appear to reveal an Earth that has foundations that reach far down,
No.
sort of liquid thing, be it water or whatever, with these pillars inside of some sort of a substance. But
right, I'm going to have to stop you there. I'm going to have to stop you there. Lemonbird, I'm going to have to stop you there. What you just said about seismology, all right? Are you a seismologist?
No, I am not.
Well, okay, so what about the people that are seismologists and have used the science of seismology to actually map the interiors of our planet and accurately measure it? What about all the science that is based around that? What about all the people that have trained and studied and worked hard to become experts in their field of seismology that would say that what you've just said is complete and utter bullshit? There is no seismology evidence that would say we're on pillars. That is a most ridiculous claim I have ever heard. Seismology 100% confirms that we are on a globe. And you cannot dispute that fact unless you are going to go and get me a seismologist that agrees with you, because they use this science. They have built machines to test and accurately measure earthquakes and the patterns that earthquakes create with the waves and you can use those to pinpoint any location on the globe. The science of seismology that the people that have trained completely disagree with what you say. And I don't think you can do that.
Well, I mean, how much woo do you want, bruh? I mean, these people are probably under deception. And
right. Okay. Right. I'm going to stop you again there. Right. If you're going in the indoctrination level, I've got to just
filter.
Right.
Now, if you look at the current model, with,
no, sorry, I want to address what you just said about the indoctrination first. Lemonbird, please.
Lemonbird, making more land.
Lemonbird, please.
See how patently absurd it is.
Jared,
hold on. What?
No, I need to address what you said there. About indoctrination and stuff, okay? They've probably just been told this blah blah blah. I've got a really big problem with that whole indoctrination thing, because answer me this, right? If you need to get a plumber out and the plumber comes to your house, are you going to say he's indoctrinated because he's gone through training and education and hard work to become qualified to be a plumber?
I wouldn't say that.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
if
If you need your electrics fixing in your house, if you need electrics fixing in your house, and you call out an electrician, are you going to call that electrician indoctrinated because he's been through education? He's got a degree in electrical engineering. He knows that the world is round, and he's studied the actual sciences of the world. Are you going to say that this guy is indoctrinated because he's the guy that knows how to fix your electrics? The same goes for everything in the world. Education is not indoctrination in any way.
It depends. If it doesn't allow you to make new observations without having to wrap it around this model that you already have, if you can't make new observations and go to new places, then you're heavily indoctrinated. This idea that the seismic plates, that the tectonic plates would be pushed apart by lava is tantamount to saying that you have two plates of steel that are pushed together that are going to be pushed apart by a tube of toothpaste being extruded through the plate. It's absurd.
No,
And
okay, well, I need to, wait, if you're going
to... How are they going to be moved apart by shifting lava? I mean, there are even problems with the tectonic model.
Right, there's not. You're making assumptions here. You're making stuff
too.
Wait, you're making complete assumptions here because you're not giving me any figures. You're saying no, it can't do that. It can't do that. But it can, and I can go and get the figures that show the pressure required that everything is causing, that can show you the motions of the lava and everything that is actually, the mathematical model that explains how it all moves, and there is no issues with it because of things like seismology, which again 100% does not show a flat Earth. You can't tell me that seismology shows. You can't tell me that seismology shows a flat Earth because it doesn't.
Before getting to that, before even going that deep, would you care to give an explanation on the basics of plate tectonics?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Either one of you.
Basically, you have plates of hard land that float on top of swimming lava. And this idea that it would, make new land when the lava gets to the surface, it's a little absurd. It looks like we haven't even drilled down past 7 to 10 miles. So we really don't have verifiable proof of what's down below. We have indirect evidence, but we don't have direct zetetic evidence. So there could be levels of perception.
I'm sorry, but I don't. Not zetetic evidence doesn't follow here. That's nothing. That's not a real thing, right? We actually use science on my channel. I'm not going to take any zetetic nonsense.
Well, here's the thing, Craig. I do have a follow-up question, and based off of that, directed towards you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What technology do we have that allows us to go to the depths of the ocean?
Jared, you went away there.
Yep. Oh, sorry. What technology do we have that allows us to go to the depths of the ocean?
Well, there's submarine. There's robotic drones that have gone down really, really far to the Mariana Trench. There's actually submarines that have been designed to go down there with individuals that have gone down and recorded. So technology that's been developed.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the mid-Atlantic ridge has actually been documented and known to be a highly volcanic and seismically active region.
Yeah, they've used it to discover many forms of new life, actually, because of the nature of the minerals there, because of the volcanic activity, has caused a lot of new life forms that couldn't exist outside that particular environment. So we know what is down there because it's been directly observed. So yeah.
Well, we haven't drilled to the center of the Earth, and we haven't gone out the other side of the Earth, so we're still making indirect assumptions based off of...
We're not, because seismology has showed us exactly what's there. It's not an indirect measurement when you're using seismic waves. That's not indirect. That is directly measuring seismic waves, and they help you map out exactly what's there, which we've done. So we do have direct evidence of what there. Of course, we haven't drilled down that far because we're tiny, tiny, tiny specks of dust on top of this planet. But it doesn't mean that we haven't been able to determine what is down there using direct evidence from technology that has been invented based on the science that we have, that has never been invented by any flat earther, ever. Yeah, that's the thing. Let me ask you this quickly. What great scientific invention has a flat earther given to the Earth?
Let's see. This deception took hold
No, that wasn't what
about
I asked.
500 years
I'd like you
ago.
to answer my direct question. What piece of technology that has helped humanity was invented by a flat earther?
I would say most mariners use a flat topographical map. They may pay lip service to the round model, but if you get down to the brass
Right, okay,
tacks, they
you're talking
probably
to
use
someone who was in the Navy for close to a decade, so no. Don't go there, right? The maps are not flat. The maps are based on globe projections, and if you want to talk about going at sea, there is no way that a sextant can work on a flat model, all right? I'm a sailor, all right? You can't argue these facts, all right? These are 100% facts that I have had to practically demonstrate to work. There is no argument here. Have you been at sea for months at a time? Have you studied how to sail using the sextant? Have you studied nautical maps and how to read them accurately? Have you done any of those things? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
Right, well then don't you dare even say that, okay? Because I have, all right? You cannot say those things if you have not studied them. Okay? Fair enough?
Have you sailed past the equator?
Sorry?
Have you sailed past the equator toward Antarctica?
Yes?
I have.
Have you found the maps to be accurate past the equator?
100% yes. Otherwise, we would have crashed several times. Trust me. I had to pilot the submarine as part of my training.
Did you pilot using computer models or did you pilot using hard reckoning?
Do you think submarines have windows, you retard?
In that case, you didn't do the calculations yourself.
Oh, I 100% did. Right, okay, tell me how a submarine navigates then. Tell me how a submarine navigates. Go on.
Probably go where the computer tells you.
No, all right, no. How does a submarine navigate? What's it do?
Computer.
No. Tell me how a submarine navigates. You can't just say computers. You don't know, do you? See, I do.
Do you use computers to navigate or do you use hard reckoning with your own pencil and paper?
We don't need to use pencil and paper because we have technology that can do it for us.
The computer's only as good as the person programming it.
Right, and not okay. You say that, but the computer didn't cause us to crash, and it was based on globe models. And it's not just a computer; it's a combination of many systems that only work on a globe. Okay,
but the computer could be programmed to be deceptive
the computer
on some level. That's all
right.
I'm
Here's
saying.
the thing about being a submariner in the Royal Navy. Okay, is that you don't just learn what you are specialized in. You have to learn everything. And that goes down to the computer systems. We have to know how to operate every bit of that submarine in case the worst happens and we are the only one that is able to operate it. So I know how to go into the computer systems of the submarine and how to alter the subroutines and things like that. And I can guarantee you that I did not program it to pretend it was sailing around a flat globe, whatever. You know, it is doing what it needs to do based on the details that it's getting from data, from stuff that it's sending out, from radar, from all the technology that's on it, detecting the world around it. And we have to correlate that data together to be able to safely navigate that submarine around what is an extremely dangerous area of the planet, being the ocean. These things cannot happen on a flat Earth unless you can explain to me exactly the functioning of a submarine's navigation systems and how it comports to a flat Earth.
Do you have to tip the submarine down to go with the curve of the ocean floor? Or is it totally flat?
Oh, right, okay. That's a really stupid question because you know how big the planet is.
The curvature of the Earth, you're going to need to tip your submarine down, aren't you?
Well, you're not going to be sailing in a straight line. That's not how a submarine would navigate. You would be going up and down in altitude. You would be, changing your pitch, and you wouldn't just be going like that. If you were sailing straight forward, your navigation system would keep you perpendicular to gravity the same way that an aircraft's gyroscope does, because it uses gravity to detect what is down. So there is systems on board that naturally adjust for this because they are working, because they're in relation to gravity. So no, you don't have to manually tip it down. You have to make sure that you are correctly using the data and the controls from the information you're getting around you. And you say gravity, but again, you can't dismiss gravity unless you can give me a proper reason for a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared, which you haven't done yet.
The interaction between the medium and
no,
the
I've
object.
already explained that that's not right, because it would go up with that logic. So things don't go up, so you can't use that.
Maybe we're under another medium of some
No,
sort,
we're
maybe
not.
it's the ether that's causing the force inside of this
The
air that
ether
we're
doesn't
in, as opposed
exist.
to just the air
The
itself.
ether, right? The
You
people,
may have purified ether at the top with ether that's denser
you may
with air at the
have,
bottom.
possibly there may be interactions, possibly this. You may have that. This, no. I can give you hard facts. You're just giving me complete wild speculation. You haven't given me anything to actually chew into here. You're literally doing flerf. You're doing flerf 101. All right. You are just doing the. You're doing the most
I can come at this matter perspective and see what new conclusions, if any, can be drawn.
But you're coming to the wrong conclusions because you're ignoring actual evidence.
Maybe you're coming to the wrong conclusions because you haven't been given all the evidence that's out there.
No,
the evidence that we're not moving.
Here's the thing, right? I have a degree.
Curvature over miles when you use laser tests, microwave tests, infrared tests that can see for thousands of miles.
All right. Oh, stop. Lemonbird, stop. Lemonbird, stop.
Gavel.
Lemonbird, right.
Lemonbird.
Please tell me.
Shotgun bullshit like.
Please tell me what infrared is.
Light rays in the red spectrum that are not normally available to our eyes. It filters out all of the light haze that you normally see, and you can see, light rays that are available.
Okay, right. Thank you. Right now, I've got a follow-up question. Is infrared light susceptible to refraction?
All light is, I believe.
Well, okay. And these infrared photographs that you are talking about, which, by the way, the people that took them don't say the Earth is flat. Okay, they were never intended to be proof of flat Earth, because they're actually examples of perfect conditions that you only get, on certain times. And when you do the math, which there's many videos, I mean, basic research here, those pictures and videos of infrared and stuff proving flat Earth have been debunked many times using math that purports to reality. And the reason that people know this math purports to reality is because they practically use it to purport to reality. For instance, I've got a degree, one of the 2 degrees I've got a degree in physics, a first with honours. Okay, and to get that degree, I didn't just sit on my ass and learn a bunch of equations. There was a lot of that, yeah, but the reason you had to learn those equations is so that you can practically demonstrate how physics works in the real world. To get my degree, I had to do physics-based experiments to prove that the mathematical formulas are correct, to prove the downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared, to prove the spin of the Earth, to prove the Coriolis force. I've done experiments for all of these things, and I've got the qualifications to back it up. And it's not just indoctrination, because I've physically done the experiments myself required to get a physics degree to show that I can practically use the knowledge I have acquired.
Fair enough. But it doesn't look like the Earth has any sort of curvature when you look with your eyes.
I completely disagree, because, for instance, Miles Davis's observations of Terrapin Law in Scotland, you can quite clearly see the curvature because the mountains that you're looking at are lower than they should be. So, yes, you can see curvature with your eyes. I mean, if we don't just have to use that, we can use the observations of Mount
column as opposed to curvature of the Earth. And
sorry,
if it's
say that again.
Away on a curve, then it should be angling. It could be from a thickened air column, limiting the light rays reaching your eye.
No, that's not how it works. That's
where you can see the horizon of the water line rising and lowering with the temperature through different days.
That's not how
this light can be very complicated.
Yeah, but we can do the maths and show you that it's not as complicated as you're making out, because we can take refraction into account. And even if you completely remove refraction from the equation, then it still shows that there's a curve. The observations from Mount Rainier, the observations from Isle of Wight. In fact, you know what? I did a video about Sleeping Warrior. He took a bunch of observations from the Isle of Wight, okay? And one of the observations he took was of a lighthouse. And in this video, he was like, oh, well, here it is from a high altitude and here it is from a low altitude. And this clearly proves it can be seen further than it should be. But then I analyzed that photo from my video and actually proved that that wasn't what he was looking at. It was a completely different object. And the photo he took actually proved that the Earth was round because something was hidden behind a curve of water, unless that lighthouse was underwater for some reason. So every observation that is taken actually comports with a globe model.
Well, you can have stuff disappear in the distance over a flat table. If you look at
No, you
over the edge of a flat table, stuff will disappear bottom first as it will over a flat plane.
No, it can't. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about a video that a guy did of a coin moving backwards on a table, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay. Well, please watch that video again and pay attention to the fact that the camera is below the table. It's not level with the table. The camera is actually slightly below the edge of the table. So, of course, when it moves away, the bottom's going to disappear. Now, that observation has... Wait, Lemonbird, I'm still talking. Lemonbird, I'm still talking. That observation has been repeated with the camera actually level on the table. And it shows that you can see the coin as it goes all the way. So...
Have you gone far away enough? Maybe the table wasn't far enough away and you have to get low down to the table to simulate the low elevation of the observer. The main thing to duplicate what you see in reality is you need to have a flat plane below your feet on the table rising up to the eye line of the camera, to the eye line of the camera to simulate conditions on a flat plane where you see a plane below your feet converging up to your eye line.
Okay, so why did you bring up the coin observation on the table in the first place?
Because you can still put the camera down fairly
No, you
low
can't.
to the table.
No, you can't. That's not how you... No.
Table converging up toward the eye line of the camera and see something disappearing as it goes toward the horizon of the table. Just
that's not an accurate representation. It's not... It's... The camera was below the table. You don't go below the table in real life.
That are still reaching the camera from above the table. Therefore, your debunk is weak and absurd.
No, it's not, because that's not... What aren't you understanding about this? The camera was below the table. It wasn't level with the table.
You still have a horizon.
That doesn't matter. Lemonbird, you're missing the point here.
Which indicates what an observer low down to the flat plane would observe over a flat plane as the flat plane converges up to their eye line.
No, only if you were partly underground and half of your eyes were covered. That's what the camera's simulating there. You can't reduce perspective, or whatever you are calling it, by going below the table. That is just inducing an obstruction, and it's a dishonest test. It's not representative of reality in any way, because you are never looking with half of your eyes covered unless you are buried in sand with half of your eyes covered. That is the observation that you are referring to. That is not reality.
That simulates being low down to the ground, as long as you have a horizon of table rising up to the eye line of the camera.
It simulates you being low to the ground with half of your eyes covered. That's what it simulates.
But you still have a light from the top of the table reaching the camera, so something's not matching here.
No, it shows that the light from the back of the table
will reach below the table. So
again, you haven't watched that. You haven't watched that. You haven't watched it properly, because you cannot see the back of the table, because the coin is disappearing when it's on the back of the table. You cannot see the back of the table. You cannot use that as an observation unless you are comparing it to someone who is buried in sand with their sand halfway covering their eyes. That is not how No, Lemonbird, that's not how reality works. You cannot use that. I'm sorry, but you are talking nonsense. No, there. You can't use that because it's nonsense. It is dishonest, and it is inducing an obstruction that is not there in real life. It is...
It's inducing
No, I'm not allowing it. All right? It's absolute bullshit. It is adding an obstruction that is not there. It's like me saying, all right, you know what? I'm going to see if I can see something that's 100 foot away from me, but I'm going to put like a 50-foot wall in the way and then see if I can still see it. You're talking absolute nonsense. Stop using nonsense. It doesn't make sense. What that is showing is not how reality works, because you are not buried in sand with half of your eyes covered, are you?
But the
Are
main
you?
crux is having
No,
a
are you?
horizon of cable
No,
rise
no,
up to
no,
meet
no,
some
no.
point on the
Lemonbird,
camera.
no.
As long as you do that, you're good, and
No,
you
you're not
simulate
good
the
because
conditions
no,
of
it's
being a
not
low down
simulating.
observer in real life to the flat plane.
No,
That is the main crux of the experiment.
it's not simulating anything because you are artificially adding an obstruction. That is not
We have to
simulating.
artificially add conditions in experiments all the time. What are you talking about?
But,
As long as you have
this
a
is doing the
horizon
experiment. That is,
below your feet of cable reaching up to the some point on the camera that simulates an observer low down to the ground with a plane,
no,
a flat
no,
plane reaching
no,
up to the observer on the flat plane.
no, because the camera is partially obstructed. That's not how we
How
see
else are you going to
things.
simulate a low observer?
By putting it
Otherwise, you
on
need to
the
have a
level,
super long
by putting it
table.
down.
There
No,
are experimental constraints and limitations. You have to work with what you have.
okay, you have to work with what you have, but you can't then put false things into an experiment. You can't just add stuff randomly to try and simulate reality. What you're doing there is being dishonest because you are adding an obstruction that is not there. You can't simulate seeing a horizon by... you're talking about being underground and looking up. That's not how reality works. That is not a comparison that can be done. That table thing is complete and utter nonsense because you are putting something in the way. And what can't you understand about that? You are artificially adding an obstruction. That is not an experiment. That is not science. That is just doing something for some reason that nobody really knows. It doesn't in any way represent what actual perspective is.
Okay, fine. Then give me a 100-foot table and a 2-3 millimeter camera. Fully above the table. Let's see if that'll go with the camera a millimeter or two above the plane. And let's see if we can get obstruction from a flat surface.
Okay, go do that then if you want. It's not really going to show anything. What you're...
Actually, point of order, the video that Nathan Oakley produced for his angle of attack assertion, he actually did something very similar to this.
Yeah.
And the only way he was able to block the object that was being observed was to have it in another room on a floor that was lower than the one he was filming on.
Yeah. You can't artificially add obstructions to try and simulate a low point of view. That, I mean, you might not be getting what you want, but you can't then just add shit to try and do it. That's not how it works.
Well, we add refraction and gravity and all these other reach.
Well, that's because they exist.
Globe model.
That's because they actually exist and they can be measured.
Trevor Robinson just said something I think you guys should look into. For Fight the Flat Earth, 20 Australian dollars, I believe, is the A. Go buy another bottle of booze. I think you're going to need it.
I think we're going to read out all super chats and stuff at the end. Thank you very much. Yeah, my wife gets angry when I drink all her tequila.
The reason why I read that one out, it was very relevant.
Yeah, that one was timely relevant, and I've been doing my best to keep an eye on the chat and grabbing questions from the audience to throw in as needed. And on this one, let's get to another claim that you mentioned in that whole shotgunning of artfully worded diarrhea there, Lemon. You had mentioned a microwave radio transmission test. Do you recall the details of this test that you're referring to, Lemon?
The one that I saw was reached about 120 miles. It looked like it was able to reach a receiver that's at the same height that was 120 miles away or something like that.
Do you recall the details of how high the transmitter and receiver were?
I think they were both the receiving and sending ends were like, what, 50 feet or something? It's been a while.
No, it was more like 250 feet. So that distance at that elevation of them is actually quite reasonable and expected on a globe. But no, there was another one where you had mentioned that they were going thousands of miles with the microwave. And there was an
infrared, but 50 feet would be obstructed over 120 miles. You take 120 miles and square it, and then you multiply that times 8 inches, and that's how much obstruction you'd expect. Anybody got a calculator?
Wait. Are you using the 8 inches per mile squared thing?
Oh, yes.
Yes, well, stop, because that's not right, okay? That's not
Why not?
that's not an accurate measurement of how to figure out the curve of Earth. That's parabolic.
How many inches per mile then?
That's not how you calculate a sphere.
But all you're going to do is write in a rubber ruler to match your.
Wait, now,
No.
give me
to be
a hard
fair,
No,
objective
that's not
measure
how
to
that's
say
not how you
many
calculate the
inches
curvature.
of
Right,
Gamble,
what is the
per mile
formula?
squared. How many inches per mile squared then?
That's not how you calculate a
point of
sphere.
order. Point of order.
Rubber ruler.
Eight-
Rubber ruler. I call rubber
Stop,
ruler.
Lemon. Stop it. I am trying to put some information out there to correct both of you on this. The 8 inches per mile squared is a good approximation for the first 25% of the globe. However, that drop is from a tangent at the origination point. It is not how the eye actually looks and how the vision and how we humans actually interact with the world around us.
Yeah.
Magical words. 120 miles is hardly 25% of the globe, by the way. So if it's not 8 inches per mile squared, please give us a hard objective standard, no rubber ruler to test whether land is falling away. Go.
You can, well, if you're on land, there's contours for a start, so there isn't going to be just an average whatever, because that's not how land works. That's why you can lay train tracks that are completely straight and level on a globe, is because it uses the contours on land. 8 inches per mile squared, like Jared said, is a close approximation for about 25%, but it doesn't accurately represent what you are seeing from your point of your eyes, your height you're looking at to the horizon. That is not a correct way of calculating how far away things are. So
it's like you guys just keep on writing reach arounds and workarounds around this model. I just drop the model and go with the flat.
You don't have a model.
Just me.
No,
you can go with the round if you want, but I'm going to go with the flat. I'm sorry.
But you're wrong. You can't give me any evidence to show that there is a flat Earth, because I've taken apart all your evidence so far. Not that there's been any evidence. Everything you've said has been a basic misunderstanding or misinterpretation of something. You admitted to me that you don't have any expertise in any of the areas required to accurately determine the reality around us. Actually, what are your qualifications? What's your level of education?
Just a flat Earth researcher.
No, that's not what I asked. Flat Earth isn't
Flat
education.
Earth.
What is your level of education?
I've done some college work.
Okay, to what level? Give me just what level. Have you done maths? Any level? Calculus, pre-calculus,
Not
matrix
a whole
theory?
Lot of math.
Do you have any
calculus,
any knowledge of the physics and
calculus back in secondary school, high school level, but not at the university level.
Right, if you've got a triangle with sides of 1, 1, and 1, what are the internal angles?
Equal sides, equal angles, 60, 60, 60 on a flat plane, on a round circle,
what is that?
over, whatever. They try to say it can have 180, 180, 180, but at that point, it's not a 2D triangle.
No.
That wasn't what I was asking.
Point of correction. The non-Euclidean geometry you were trying to refer to, you can do a 90, 90, 90.
Yeah.
180, 180, 180 would be 3 opposing straight unimpeded lines.
I mean, you can't argue the fact that if you put a triangle onto a globe, that's what happens. If you put a triangle onto a sphere, then that happens, right?
Yeah, but
no. I just wanted a yes.
You can't really draw an angle on one plane. You'd be drawing an angle on another plane that's no longer 60 degrees on one plane relative to another. It's absurd. It's just another way that you have to mangle the mind around a globe.
No, again, putting a triangle onto a sphere is just a simple thing. There's no mangling. It's just simple and it's done. There's nothing complicated or super confusing or like this. We're trying to do some sleight of hand and confuse you. It's just simple, basic maths and geometry that, frankly, I'm surprised that most of you people can't do. I was impressed that you managed to get the internal angles of a triangle, because that puts you leaps ahead of Sleeping Warrior. But for not understanding how a triangle can go on a globe and then have those angles is just baffling, because that's just a fact of reality in nature, that's what happens when you put a triangle onto a sphere.
Well, he's got a good mind. Give him the tools and he'll figure it out. But the thing is, you really
What?
have a pie slice depending on how you arrange the curved lines on the thing. And actually, depending on how you arrange them, you could have like a curved triangle, a curved side triangle. It really depends on how you look at the lines because they're going over a curved surface, and depending on how you look at them, they're going to be curved or they're going to be linear. So it's mind mangling.
No,
It's like you
it's
don't
not.
have an objective
Again,
standard
putting a
to measure
triangle onto a
reality.
sphere isn't mind mangling. That's just basic. You're trying to make it complicated when it's not. You put a triangle on a sphere, and that happens. That's just a fact of nature. You're trying to say that there's all this, oh, it's just mind mangling, talking this and that. It's not. It's just a fact of what happens when you put a triangle on a sphere. And you cannot deny that simple fact. There is nothing extra to be said about it. There's nothing about linear and straight and flat or whatever. It's simple. When you put a triangle on a sphere, that's what happens. And then pilots use that to plot routes. And no pilot thinks the Earth's flat. Just saying.
They probably do when they whisper to check what the real
they
shape of
don't,
it
because
is,
I
but
know
they
pilots.
probably would do their
Right.
job or something.
Right.
If they're like, the Earth is flat.
As not only was I on submarines, but I spent time aboard HMS Invincible, which is an aircraft carrier, and I spent time aboard other ships that had aircraft and stuff on, and I knew the people that flew those aircraft, and trust me, they didn't think the Earth was flat. Wolfie 6020 is a professional pilot. He does not think the Earth. In fact, he knows the Earth is not flat. No pilots are secretly whispering to each other about the Earth being flat and laughing behind your back, unless you've got some hard evidence that every single pilot in the world and every single private pilot in the world and every single person that's flown the plane that doesn't have a license, because, the world's a dangerous place and I bet that shit happens, you'd have to have all of them in on this whispering and laughing at each other. And I'm sorry, but we would know.
But this defies logic. How can you have a moving planet that has habitation for life? Most of the time on Earth, you see still unmoving structures used for habitation and life. You never find anything that's moving that has a whole lot of life. Even fish, to get away from the current, some fish, will burrow under the sand to find a nice, still place to sleep and stuff like that.
Funny that, because
A
there's a
moving planet
species of
hurtling
fish.
through space would not even be fit for habitation. Most of the time, you see still, unmoving structures on foundations of some sort for habitation, not stuff. Yeah, that's basic logic.
No, it's basic flat Earth nonsense. Right, here's the thing about that you're wrong, because there's actually a species of fish that exists purely to live on a type of whale and eat the algae and stuff off of it. So their habitation is moving all the time. But the fact is, you're obviously completely unaware of what a reference frame is and how it relates to the reality of what we live in. We are on something that is moving at a constant speed. All right. If you're on a train, on a sleeper train, that going, from, I've been on them quite a few times, going from the south coast of England all the way up to Scotland, all right? It's like a 12-hour journey, and you get on it, and then it's got bits that you sleep on, okay? You're going in a straight line at a constant speed, and trust me, it's quite easy to habitate that train and sleep and do everything that you need to. The train is moving, but it's moving at a constant speed. Wait, I haven't finished. You know what you do feel is when that train goes around a corner, or when that train stops and starts. Those are the things you feel. You don't feel a constant motion because it's constant.
But that's for linear motion in a line, not for around an axis. To maintain a position around an axis, you'd have to change constantly. You can go to calculus and look at the derivative and the graph of the derivative of a moving object's speed and see how constant it is or is not. If the line that you get when you graph the derivative of the movement is not a straight line, then it is not constant. And the sort of derivative that you'd get when you take the derivative of a circular spin function or whatever would not be a straight line. It would be like a parabola for half of it, and a parabola going up and down, or something like that, probably. And the thing
Something
is
like
that
that,
it's not a
probably.
constant
Exactly.
motion, and therefore you would feel it whenever it changes spin from this direction to this direction.
But it
as it's
doesn't
pulled
change
by
spin.
the sun,
Right. Sorry,
pulled by
sorry.
the
I've got to stop you
center,
here,
pulled by
Lemonbird.
the
Lemonbird,
galaxy.
please.
You feel all of
Lemonbird,
these changes.
please,
This is
please
absurd.
stop. Right. What you're doing here is just misrepresenting the model. You don't
That is a
understand.
perfect
No,
representation
no,
of the model.
shh,
Maybe we
don't
haven't
stop.
thought about
Will
this
you,
because
will you
we've been
please shut
indoctrinated
up?
for too long.
I'm getting annoyed with you now. I'm getting
Lemon,
annoyed, right?
what did we say about allowing the other to rebut what was just said?
Okay. There isn't any speeding up and slowing down. It's a constant motion. I've just explained this to you. There is no changing. It's a constant speed that we are traveling around the sun. It is a constant rate of revolution that the Earth is spinning. There isn't any acceleration, deceleration, speeding up and slowing down. It's a constant rate. It is the reference frame that we are on. To us, it is still, because it is in a constant state of moving in, that it's our reference frame. The same as when you're on a train and it's traveling in a straight line. At that point, that train is your reference frame. To you, that train is still. But to people outside, it's not.
But the thing is, this is illogical. How can the sun pull us gravitationally and we have any sort of a spin? Those are two motions that are in opposition to each other. If you've
Okay,
ever
can I see the
taken a
math to
pail
back
of
that up,
water
please?
and spun it around yourself, that pail of water maintains its orientation to you. That is analogous to the sun pulling the earth with gravity.
No,
It
it's
would
not.
maintain one orientation to the pole and it would not be able to spin.
No,
These
it's
two
not.
motions are a contravention to each other and cannot be.
No,
This
it's
is
not.
illogical. We are on a fixed,
No, it's
unmoving
not.
plane
You were just
that is
completely
not
wrong.
moving.
Wait,
And the
Lemonbird.
other bodies are moving over
Lemonbird.
us.
You were...
I have a question that
No,
goes
wait. I
towards
need.
this.
Wait. Everything he just said there was wrong.
Craig,
Right.
this will help. This will actually help you, because this should also help him visualize it. Has anyone else here ever played tetherball?
Mm-hmm.
Was it possible to spin the ball on the tether and then send the tether flying around the...
Yeah.
Well,
For
there's
how
your
long?
two motions going on at
Right.
once there, Lemonbird.
For how long?
And
before
also,
the
you are
pole took
completely
over?
ignoring the conservation of momentum. There's a reason why the Earth is spinning. It's because that's how
Why?
it was formed.
And so this energy has maintained for billions of years with no slowdown.
No, actually, it has slowed down. If you go
No.
back to the Jurassic period, the days were actually, I think, a few minutes longer. If you go even further back, the days, shorter. And the further back you go, the shorter the days were, because as time goes on, the spin of the Earth is actually kind of slowing down. But that's more to do with the friction and stuff created by the moon going around us and everything, because there isn't really an opposing force in space when the Earth is spinning. The only reason why something would stop spinning, for instance, if I did a spinning top on my table, that would stop spinning because there's friction on the table and there's friction in the air. But in space, there isn't that friction, so the conservation of momentum is going to continue unless there's an opposing force to stop that. So...
Well, I mean, even the a vacuum of space is ridiculous.
In what way?
I mean, how do we have a vacuum that's full of planets, dust, water, radiation, all sorts of ice? I mean, how do you have a vacuum that has stuff in it? It would just equalize. It makes no sense.
Explain to me what a vacuum is and what it does.
Nothing in it. Anything next to a vacuum would equalize toward the vacuum until the vacuum does not exist, and everything is nice and equalized.
Okay, and what happens if there's some kind of opposing force?
Vacuum is a void elemental. As far as I can tell, there isn't much that can resist a vacuum once the vacuum gets started.
A vacuum doesn't suck. That's not how vacuums work. Again, you're arguing for something that you have no knowledge of. It's simply an area of lower pressure to what we have. Do you know what the difference in atmosphere between space and where we are now is? Do you know what the difference is?
5 atmosphere or something like that.
No,
The top
1 atmosphere. We are at 1 atmosphere. Space is at 0 atmosphere. That's about 14 psi. That doesn't require a massive force to counter.
That's assuming that there's a vacuum beyond the dome,
What?
beyond the firmament.
There is no firmament. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about space right now.
Rainbows attest to it. Sundogs attest to it. It looks like they're reflecting off.
Sorry,
of a curved
you're
black
right.
surface.
Lemonbird, I'm not going to let you change the subject. We're talking about space and the way that a vacuum and stuff works right now. Don't change the subject.
Yeah, it doesn't exist beyond the dome. There might be a little space under the dome, but not beyond it.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how space would work with a vacuum, because what you've done here is you've gone, oh, he's right, I don't understand any of this, I'm going to try and change the subject to make him talk about that. No, fuck you, that's not happening. We're going to stick with space and how a vacuum works.
But you're going to try to isolate it to one little thing without getting the whole
what I'm
picture.
going to do is I'm going to hold you to one thing until you admit that you've no idea what you're talking about. So again, explain to me why it's impossible to have a 14 psi differential. Why is it impossible to have a difference of 1 atmosphere? Explain to me why it is impossible.
Because vacuums are highly artificial, only formed in a lab, never found in nature.
No, that's wrong.
Most of the time, if you have something next to a vacuum, it equalizes. So unless you can invoke magical gravity, not possible.
Gravity isn't magical, it's an observable fact. Again, you can't do this gravity magical thing unless you give me another explanation for a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared. Can you?
Yeah, by talking about the medium and inviting
No,
back
I'm sorry, but I've already
debunked
debunked all that. I've already debunked all that.
Weekly.
Not weekly, completely, 100%. You can't go back to something that I've already debunked here, Lemonbird. All right, we're going to focus on space.
I'll go back to it and back to it again until we find the truth.
What the truth is? No, the truth is that I've debunked you.
Coming back.
Oh, now wait. Now you're invoking
come
magic.
Back to the truth.
Lemonbird. How ironic! Wait, Lemonbird. Will you shut up and let me respond? I think it's incredibly ironic and, in fact, intellectually dishonest of you to say that, oh, you can't invoke magical gravity, even though gravity isn't magical in any way. It's completely understandable, observable, and measurable. But then you go to God did it.
Well,
that's
I think
magic.
It's very disingenuous that you abandon God after millions of thousands of years of knowing some sort of deity, and then you're fine with going back and rewriting history to write out God, but you're not fine with going back and revisiting the ether and revisiting gravitational science to see maybe if
here's
we made
a fact
error.
about God, Lemonbird.
You're obviously an agenda-driven, atheistic materialist who will go with this system to shore it up, and
you're going with the whole big conspiracy thing, right? Again, right? Lemonbird,
the creator, and go down another road.
Lemonbird, will you shut up when I'm trying to talk, please? Right, God was made by man. That's a fact.
Man was made by God.
No, I can prove that God was made by man. You can't prove that. Yes, because you can go back throughout history and look at all the different deities and sky spirits and explanations that people came up with for what was in the stars. And there's been so many different forms of gods and sky spirits and whatever throughout the time that has trickled down and been refined and changed until you get your one particular monolithic religion which doesn't comport with reality. What a deity is a young mankind's explanation of the world around them. I'm going to say a very famous quote right now, is that any sufficiently advanced technology will appear as magic. And what that says is that we can't understand something if we can't understand something, we just call it something else. We call it magic. But the fact is, now we do understand it. So that means that we don't have to look at these deities and stuff that we used as the explanation before. because we now know what it is. And you can't say for thousands of years, because there's been people that don't believe in deities for all this time. The whole idea of someone magically creating the dome goes against all the arguments that you've been trying to give me with your misunderstanding of science. You can't claim... You can't claim that I am magically invoking gravity for you to then go and magically invoke God. All right? That's dishonest. And you can't do it.
But it's a hatred of God's ability beyond man. If God has any abilities that man doesn't, they just hate him and try to learn how he does stuff and throw him away. It's ungrateful children, and it makes it so that God can't reveal anything to man, otherwise they're going to turn it to evil. How do you know that these ancient cultures didn't have some form of revelation that they perverted? Fallen angels, demons, perverting the word or whatever, and twisting that and giving you all these gods, Zeus, Astarte, Baal, Moloch.
Because we can read history and there was never any of these gods that actually existed. Like the fact is, you're saying magic. You that is your explanation at this point. Magic, something beyond man.
Well, the thing, the thing is, wait. The thing is, knowledge can always get more knowledge, but if you have man's limited science, eventually you're just going to reach a dead end, and you're not going to be able to go anywhere. Well, which is the same thing with this heliocentric nonsense with dark matter, all these workarounds, theories that go nowhere. We drop the ether despite the fact that there's electricity all around us.
Stop, Lemonbird, stop right there. Stop right there. All right, you've just contradicted yourself again. All right, you say one thing and then you misapply it to the other side. Science doesn't just stop, right? What science does, right? Let me give you an example, right? Say you saw a light and it was flashing and it was going 3 flashes of yellow and then 1 flash of red, right? And it did that over and over and over, all right? Thousands of times, all right? Now, from that, you can make a safe assumption that after 3 flashes of yellow, there's going to be a flash of red, right?
Yes.
All right, and you can scientifically, well, I don't want to use the word scientifically, but you can test that and see if it's true, right?
Yes.
Okay, and once you've tested it and you see it is true, it's what is the accepted consensus, okay? Now, what happens if one day it goes yellow, 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 red, yellow, 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 pink? What do we do then? What we do in science is we reassess what we have looked at, we remeasure, we come to new conclusions based on the new evidence that has been presented until there is something that will explain it even better that comes along, because that is how you advance knowledge. You look at the knowledge that people have had before you, and you improve on it. All right, you can talk about Newton and Einstein and everyone, but they didn't get everything right, because you can't just get everything right. That's how knowledge advances. People get some stuff right and we get some stuff wrong. And the way you know that the stuff is right is because then it comports to reality. But that's like the difference between, when you say about Newtonian gravity and Einsteinian gravity. Newtonian gravity, they're not two different things. Newtonian gravity is an explanation of, it's a force. It's a downward accelerating force. And we know that. It's the what's happening, whereas Einsteinian gravity is the explanation of for why that force is happening. The best way that I can explain to you what gravity is that gravity is a warping of space-time that manifests within Newtonian physics as a force that we can measure as a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared. And these things have been observed and tested over and over and over. So that's how science works.
But you're forgetting about human people with their egos, their vanity, the careers that they have to protect.
That's what peer reviewing is for.
To just keep on going, even when they've been found in error. I mean, it would have been so much better if electricity would have been discovered before gravity, because you can see electricity and you can quantify electricity a whole lot more than you can, quantify gravity. Maybe we need to have some sort of electrogravity theory or some sort of massaging into the electric theory of gravity that might be a bit more unified and might explain things flat Earth, or whatever.
But there
Because
is
I've
no.
never seen gravity's color. I've never put gravity in a jar, and as far as I can tell, we can't control gravity. We're the people that are levitating. We're the people who can turn on and off gravity. As far as I can tell, we have no
Again,
control
you are
over the
misrepresenting what the model is, because that's not how
It's
anything
an
works. You
accurate
can't just turn off
representation.
gravity because it is a warping of space-time. What you're doing is asking us to show you something that is completely opposite of gravity. You want to see people floating and stuff, then look at the people in space. And even if you think that ISS is fake or whatever, which is ridiculous because of course it's fucking not. But those astronauts are floating. But do you know why they're floating?
Because they are falling.
Yeah.
Back to the Earth equal to the acceleration or some jazz.
Yeah. So you understand that it's not that they're in like a lot less gravity, because the gravity up there is about 88% of what it is here. It's it's not much different. The only reason they're floating is because they are falling down, and that has been demonstrated many, many times in zero-G planes and stuff like that. But those zero-G planes can only happen for like 30 seconds at a time, and I've watched a NASA live stream of inside the ISS that was over an hour. But anyway, so no, there is no, a way to just turn off gravity like that, because that's not how gravity works, and not what anyone would expect with the understanding and knowledge we have of gravity. You're asking for something that isn't something that we would expect from a model in the first place.
Well, I mean, the thing is, maybe we're missing a few things with this electricity. It seems like gravity should have been updated with electricity.
No,
And
it shouldn't have been updated with
maybe I should come
electricity
at this
because
with a flat Earth perspective and study the stuff that's out there from a flat Earth perspective and hold on to that without having to write all these gravity reach arounds. I mean, as far as I can tell, gravity was only written to explain why we don't fly off of a spinning ball.
No,
That's the only reason why we have gravity. Otherwise,
no, you're wrong, Lemonbird. Sorry, but I'm going to stop you there because you're spouting nonsense. Gravity wasn't written. No one writ gravity. Newton noticed that things fall and measured that and called it gravity. It wasn't that he was thinking, oh, I'm just going to randomly make up something. What he did is he noticed that there was a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared, and he created a formula that can accurately explain and predict that accelerating force. There was no just making it up. It was observing reality and using math to accurately predict and represent what that reality is.
But how do we know it's not a coincidence? What if objects are attracting each other because of some sort of an electric force as opposed to some Higgs boson gravity
Because
force?
that's not how electric works.
That's
that's not how electricity works. We know that. We
electricity
know how
form.
electricity
You have
works.
solid water, liquid water, gaseous water. What if you have charged electricity, uncharged electricity, ether electricity, magnetic electricity, electromagnetism?
You're just saying things that don't exist right now. You're literally just making up words, Lemonbird. I'm sorry, but I'd really like to stick to things that are observable and measurable, because so far
I have no imagination.
When I'm not talking about imagination, I'm talking about observable reality. And frankly, this seems like a
limited view of reality. Maybe
no, I'm not
there's
talking
something
about a
else.
limited view of reality. I'm talking about an actual view of reality. Right, this is actually a bit of a backwards conversation for me with a flat earther, because normally a flat earther is telling me that I'm the one with the imagination making things up, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, you are telling me that. You're saying magic gravity, blah, blah, blah. But then you're saying, oh, have some imagination. No, we're going to stick to what is observable and measurable in this reality. And, one thing that's observable and measurable in this reality is the fact that our Earth is a globe. And there's satellites in space. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures every single day from space. I'm not going to talk about NASA at all. Nothing that I'm talking about is from NASA, okay? We have a satellite in orbit, well, it's in geostationary orbit, that can accurately image an entire side of the planet every 10 seconds. And one of the ways we know that it's accurate is because you can look at the cloud patterns in real time from anywhere that it's imaging, and then go to any webcam, real-time webcam, and match up those patterns. They're exactly the same, moving exactly the same. There's a channel, Wally, I'm sorry, I cannot remember his name. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jared? The Australian guy. He's done loads of stuff about like
Wolfie?
No, not Wolfie. What Wally something. He's gonna shout at me for not remembering his name. Yeah, he's
Fight
done.
The Flat Earth. You need to hit play on your Earth on the site that it's on.
Yeah, well, I am talking about the Himawari 8. I wanted to see if he knew which satellite I was talking about. But yeah, so the Himawari 8 is proof that satellites are real because of the way that it accurately monitors the entire world. And then there was wait, I haven't finished. There was an incident in I think it was 2015 where there was a wildfire on the Mongolian-China border. Okay, the first thing to notice this wildfire was the Himawari 8 satellite. Thanks to the Himawari 8 satellite, they managed to spot a wildfire that wouldn't have been spotted any other way because it's not in a place that anyone goes and it's not really in flight routes or anything. But using the satellite, they were able to track and monitor that fire and stop it destroying villages and stuff that it would have been. They wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't from the data that was coming from the Himawari 8 satellite that was tracking that wildfire. There's no other like cameras and stuff around there that would have been showing that.
I mean, how much, woo do you want to go into? I'm extremely paranoid myself, and there may be other explanations for this.
Well, I'd love to hear one because I can give you an exact explanation of what it is.
They could. Okay, perfect. What about the videos on YouTube of Sky Dome Atlantis? Some sort of
what? Sorry.
Base. Underside of the dome. Maybe they attach attachments to the underside of the dome. Maybe they're bouncing signals off of the dome. Maybe there are towers under the ground that send and receive signals as well with those underground bases. What do you call those big underground bases that are underground? How are they communicating if not via towers or some sort of radio signal? Maybe those are off the records and off the map. And those are transmitting signals as well. There's a lot of places we could go with this stuff, possibly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You are just making wild speculations. Right, Lemonbird, I'm going to respond to it now. I'm going to have to stop you because you keep going on these diatribes. Lemonbird, stop. Right, you keep going on these diatribes, and they are just complete and utter assumptions. The Himawari 8 satellite shows a globe. It doesn't show something else. It shows a globe that accurately purports with reality. It shows a globe. Wait. I haven't finished. It shows a globe that accurately shows the sizes of the countries that comport with maps that cartographers have spent thousands of years creating. It shows weather patterns in real time in such detail that there frankly isn't any computer power available that could fake that kind of thing. It shows...
It's a cobbling together of a bunch of data from different sensors and different towers. Put on some sort of a deceptive globe layer. All it is just layering in Photoshop. It is not an accurate representation, a photo, if you will, of reality. All it is a digital layering.
It's not.
Like Barack Obama's birth certificate.
Hang on. If that is the case, Lemon, then take any screenshot from Himawari 8 and show the ELA interference indicative of a photo being fake.
There isn't any. The Himawari 8 is a live feed from a satellite. It shows a globe. There is no altering. There is no deception. It shows a globe that accurately purports with reality. You can't argue the facts that it accurately shows the size of the land masses, that it accurately shows the size of the oceans, that it accurately shows the cloud patterns, their size and distribution across the planet, that it accurately tracked a wildfire that had no other way of being tracked. If it was a deceptive blah blah blah, it wouldn't show the right land masses. It wouldn't show the right sizes. These are the actual sizes that comport with reality. So, reality doesn't show flat.
But you can go to Jeranism's channel and
Jeranism's not a flat earther. Jeranism is not a flat earther.
That they use over and over again for globe pictures. He shows the models that they just cut and paste and reuse on these models. They have globe models for planets and everything, and they have
right. What's your point there?
Temperature weather models all the way out to 2100. And so they just, recycle the same old data set over and over again for, those beautiful little cloud photos, probably.
Well, no, because these are accurate in real time. Yeah, that's the thing. Probably these are accurate real time photos. Now, number one, Jeranism isn't a flat earther. Okay. Number two, the ones you're talking about where the cloud patterns are like replicated, blah blah blah. Yeah, you're right. Those cloud patterns were replicated, but that's because they were never even meant to be shown as accurate pictures. They were just, they were pretty much art projects in a way of like real land masses, and then they put the clouds and stuff over the top. But that doesn't mean that they are all like that. It's photoshopped because it has to be. Yes. Wait, Lemonbird, wait. That it's photoshopped because it has to be is 100% true, because what he put together was 15,000 images taken over 6 hours from 8 orbits of the planet. So it had to be put together in Photoshop, but that doesn't mean that it's fake. However, there are plenty of pictures of the globe that are not composites, and I will talk to you about one right now. The blue marble, I said I wasn't going to talk about NASA, but I'm going to now, because the blue marble from 1972, all right, there's no Photoshop there because Photoshop didn't exist.
Well, what they probably did was take a photo.
Probably. No, so you just said probably.
Take it for hitting the dome and then just wrapped it around a globe. You probably can't get a full picture of the Earth because the dome's in the way. And so the thing is, if you convert flat earthers, give them a trip up to space.
Assumption. Another assumption.
Control sheet.
No. So here's the thing, Lemon. Hang on a second.
This is important.
Really?
The live chat wants to know what you mean by Jeranism is not a flat earther.
Of course he's not a flat earther. If he was a flat earther, he wouldn't have promoted a flat earth app that 100% doesn't work.
It works enough.
No, it doesn't work at all. It in no way represents reality in any way, shape, or form. And Jeranism would have known this 100%. The reason he promoted it is because he got paid. Jeranism is simply a con man who's in it for the money. He has been shown so many proofs that the Earth is a globe. The problem is that he's so deep in it that he can't now come out of it. But he is quite clearly someone that knows that the Earth is a globe, because the amount of times that he has been proven, and that app, he would not have promoted that app if he was a flat earther, because every flat earther knows that app doesn't actually work.
Well, just like with the star trails, because of the great band of rotation of the sun, it's going to appear to dip down toward the horizon and rise as it circles close to you from the horizon and set toward the horizon with great distance. And so basically, the app is probably given more or less the right position of the sun.
No, it doesn't give any position at all.
And in the distance, it appears to reach the horizon. That's all.
No, it doesn't give any accurate predictions at all. And in fact, as it goes on through the days, it gets more and more inaccurate. It doesn't purport with reality in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that you're trying to say that, it's close enough, is fucking ridiculous. You can't use close enough to try and claim that the Earth is flat.
Well, we need accurate maps with accurate placements of the continents and sizes. We've probably been deceived on a massive level.
No, okay. I have driven from one side of the UK to the other, and I can confirm that it is the distance that it says. And unless my car is also lying to me about the miles that it traveled. And there is there is many companies that travel all across the world delivering stuff. All right, and they have to take into account the distances so that they can calculate how much fuel they're going to need, how much fuel is going to cost, what the actual organization is required to get around the world. And there is so many people and so many businesses that are reliant on traveling around the world that this deception would have been noticed, because people know how to measure distance. They have cars and machinery that and even like mechanical things that tell them how far they are going. And you know what happens is it always purports with what is shown on the globe. Never does it purport to what is shown on the flat Earth, unless Australia is twice the size that it actually is, of course.
Well, the thing is, most of the land is in the northern hemisphere anyway. The real, problems happen in the southern hemisphere as the land expands outward toward Antarctica on the flat plain.
That's
That's where
be
the real problems happen, with the ocean distances and stuff like that at the latitudes.
right. Okay,
But
and I
in the
did
north,
wait. The ocean distances. Wait, the ocean distances, Lemonbird. I can also confirm that they're right because again, I was in the Navy for a decade, so we as sailors and people operating multi-billion-dollar pieces of equipment have to know the distances so that we can accurately travel them. So there is no grand deception about how far it is because people travel those routes all the time. People have records of what those distances are. Everybody that actually travels knows how far these things are. You're again just making an assumption with no facts to back it up. These things are not things that can be argued. We know what the distances are because they're traveled every day by millions of people.
well, as a conspiracy theorist, the truth is one thing that was broken in the shards, and the puzzle can only fit in one way. And so the only way this puzzle can fit is with a grand deception to basically lead us all to hell, atheism, and, toward this randomly spinning earth that you have to rely on the scientific clerics to even, hope to
Sorry, no,
interpret with.
please
Distance,
stop right
God is
there.
far away, if he's there at all,
Lemonbird,
just, far
I've got to
removed. And
stop you.
it's just you got to put the puzzle pieces together, and they only come back together after it's been broken in one way.
Right, there is no broken puzzle pieces. As a conspiracy theorist, you're looking for shit that isn't there. Right? Now, I'm not
It's
going to
there.
deny. Wait. I'm not going to deny that there aren't any conspiracy theories in the world. Okay, but this grand, massive deception that you're talking about is far too big of something for humanity to do without other people noticing. There is no grand deception because we can personally measure the distance of the planet. We can accurately measure the rotation of the planet. We can accurately see the curve of the Earth. Any laser test that is done properly, unlike the one FE Core did, for instance, any laser test that's done properly shows that there's curve. Did you know that the laser that FE Core used actually had a dispersion radius that was bigger than that of the curve of the Earth? So like if you actually do these things properly, you find out that the Earth is curved. And for spinning, I can give you proof of that. Actually, courtesy of Flat Earth Core, who themselves proved that the Earth spins with a gyroscope.
But the gyroscope is spinning with the ether, not with the Earth.
Okay, tell me how a gyroscope works.
The gyroscope would spin. Part of it would resist the spin, and it would precess depending on how it's moving through, I guess, the medium or whatever.
I guess the medium or whatever. No, the gyroscope is an instrument that maintains its rigidity in 3D space and will precess based on the movement of the Earth. Now, all right, the one that FE Core used was a really expensive, I don't think it was a ring laser gyro. I can't remember the exact name of it, but yeah, all right, it had lots of computer components and stuff. But a mechanical gyroscope also measures a 15 degree per hour shift. And that
But
would
not when you place it on the Earth.
yeah,
When you place it on the Earth, it doesn't precess.
yes, it does. That's how you use a. You don't know what a gyroscope is, do you? When you can put a mechanical gyroscope, if it's accurate enough, you can put it on the Earth, and it will precess. It will show a 15 degree per hour shift. And
With the ether.
how would a mechanical gyroscope register the ether?
If it's swirling
but-
around,
but-
maybe it has some sort of electrical activity on the gyroscope.
No,
But the
that's
Earth
not how
isn't-
gyroscope
that's
works,
the
and
thing.
there
The
is
Earth
no.
not moving. It's the ether that's moving above the Earth.
There is no ether. That's been proven. The LIGO detector is a massive Michelson-Morley experiment. Okay, we've gone through this. Stop going back to things that I've already explained to you that you are wrong. I've proved
So
to
we're
you.
going to take the ether and massage it into gravity theory with quantum fluid and all this madness. Let's just go back to the ether.
No, because the ether doesn't exist. Again, science has progressed. They might have thought there was an ether beforehand, but they now know there isn't. Because as I explained with the lights flashing and then it all of a sudden changing, you have to progress with that change. And we found out that there is no ether, and that helped us advance in science. The Michelson-Morley experiment proved that there was no ether, and so did Airy's failure. And the LIGO detector is, like I said, just a massive Michelson-Morley experiment. And actually, there's another thing about the LIGO detector. Do you know what they did when they were building it? They took into account the curve of the Earth. They had to because of the size of it. And
you mean the difference of the topography? Maybe like 10 foot of mountain over here versus this over a flat plain?
No, they had to take into account the curve of the Earth because of the size of it. That's a fact. That you can look at the plans of how it was built and everything, and the calculations for how it took into account the curve of the Earth are there. There are so many things that prove the globe, and so far in this debate, you haven't actually given me a single tangible proof. All you've done is given me assumptions, things that you misunderstand. You've given me misrepresentations of the globe model, which I always find hilarious how flat earthers will be like, oh, yeah, well, gravity isn't real because a butterfly can fly. Well, that kind of shit is just not understanding our actual model and then going, oh, well, because I don't understand it, then that means this, therefore flat. It's all nonsense. The observable, testable, measurable reality is that we live on a globe.
Well, I'm gonna have to approach this stuff from a flat Earth perspective and see what new.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's incredibly intellectually dishonest. Because do you know what? I don't approach this with a globe Earth perspective, because that's not how you do these things. What you have to do is you have to approach this with intellectual honesty, which means realizing that. Well, not realizing, but going into it with the understanding that, okay, if I'm proved wrong, then that is the thing. And to do that, you cannot go into it with a flat Earth perspective or a globe Earth perspective. You have to go into it almost with a neutral standpoint. And when I started actually researching this, that's what I did. I looked into it from a neutral standpoint, and all the evidence points to a globe. There is not a single bit of flat Earth. There's not a single bit of evidence, once you actually look into it and understand the evidence, that points to a flat Earth. It is all just misunderstandings.
But what about the background radiation measurements that appear to point to the Earth being the center of everything? They call it the axis of evil. They're so dead set against the Earth having a special place in the universe, they don't even want to acknowledge it. But the background radiation measurements appear to point to the Earth being the center of everything.
And okay, that's the reason that's because
the geocentric flat Earth model.
The reason that when you use the background radiation to image the universe, we seem to be in the center, is because that is the observable universe to us in all directions. So of course we're going to appear as the center. That doesn't mean that is actually the entire universe. Because of the speed that universe is accelerating, we can't really observe the entire universe. But if you are observing from a single point outwards, then of course you are going to appear to be the center of it. You understand that, right?
Center of everything, and yeah, we don't have to write any, sort of a fancy definition. No Lorentz contraction, no workaround. Maybe we're just the center of everything.
No, there isn't. You keep saying this word workaround. There isn't workarounds. There is no workarounds. There is just explaining reality to the best of our abilities with science, and then comparing that to actual reality. And there is never a point that anything flat Earth comports to reality. You can keep saying these, oh, well, it appears to be this and it appears to be that. But, dude, you have been absolutely 100% destroyed here. I'm sorry, but, I don't understand how you can even still be a flat earther at this point, because you don't have any facts of any kind. All you have is misunderstandings and, but my holy book.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I could be missing something and I could be wrong, but I feel like we're being deceived on various levels, and we need to look.
So you're just going to ignore everything that I've told you today? You're going to ignore all the science
until I get compelling. Well,
like I said, that is incredibly intellectually dishonest and proves that you actually do not care about the truth in any way, shape, or form. What you care about?
Just give me a ticket up to space.
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry, but do you realize these things cost money, right?
Why is it so freaking expensive? It's been 50 years already. When are we going to go to space?
Because fuel cost is a thing.
Because they don't want us up there.
they don't want us up there, then why is there so many rocket launches all the time? And let's look at India, right, who have just started their space just started the space project, but they've just launched their project to go to the moon and stuff. And they're showing that they can do it for a fucking lot cheaper than America has done and stuff. So they're going to be going to the moon relatively soon. There was another country, I can't remember, that had just announced it. China have just launched their probe. Space tourism is on the way. Someone's going in, a civilian is going into space quite soon on SpaceX. Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin. You keep saying, when are we going into space? But that shit's coming. Are you going to go down the route of, oh, well, how come it's been 50 years and there's no advance in space technology?
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, I'm going to shut you up right now. Right, Lemonbird, let me shut you up right there. Because in the 1970s, right, we had mechanical big-ass rockets that went up to space, all right? And we couldn't use them again. The rockets were destroyed and broken. But now, we can... Wait. No, now we can land rockets backwards on drone ships in the ocean and reuse them. We are doing more launches to space now than we have ever done. So there is advances in space technology. The telemetry wasn't all completely lost. The recording and and everything back then wasn't all as good, but that doesn't mean that there isn't telemetry from it, because there was a whole bunch of amateur and professional organizations around the world that were also monitoring the mission from different points. In fact, they had to use some of the amateur radio stations and stuff to be able to communicate with NASA at certain points based on where they were in the orbit. These things weren't just recorded by NASA, they were recorded by millions of people across the world that had no connection with each other in any way.
Yeah, I'm not saying that rockets aren't going up there. I'm saying that they're going up, curving, and probably going into the Bermuda Triangle. Most of these space
they go
stations
to
are
space
right by water, where they can, bury the body without anybody seeing it. Show me a space station that's over a body of land, landlocked, 200 to 300 miles in each direction, so you can see what these rockets exactly what these rockets are doing.
We don't have any space stations that are like that. Right. Okay. Here's one thing. Right. Why should NASA prove anything to you?
Because people need to know, and
people do. Right? No. Like, here's one thing. NASA don't give a fuck about what you know. NASA do not care in the slightest what you know. What NASA care about is advancing. I'm talking. Will you shut up when I'm talking? Right?
It's just absurd.
Shut up. I'm talking. Right? What NASA are interested in doing is advancing humankind through spaceflight and technology. They have no interest in proving to the fucking idiot flat earthers that the earth is a globe, because they've done it plenty of fucking times. You can go on the ISS feed, and in fact, in my debate with Flat Out Hero, he was saying the same shit. So I showed him a point on the ISS feed where you could see land in many fucking directions, right? So that stuff is there if you actually did the most basic bit of research. But flat earthers don't know how to do research because, as you've admitted to me, you will only do it from a flat earth perspective, which is intellectually dishonest and will not give you any of the answers that are actually truth, because you're not looking for truth. No, I'm not finished. You're not looking for truth. You do not care about the truth. What you want is the earth to be flat, and you don't give a fuck what anybody else says.
And you want the earth to be round.
No, I don't know. I don't want the earth to be round. Lemonbird, I'm sorry, but I've got to stop you there. I don't want the earth to be round. I know the earth is round because it is. I don't care what shape the earth is, but I know that the earth is round. All right? What I care about is idiots spreading misinformation and nonsense like the flat earth as truth, because it is damaging to our society. It is damaging to advancement. And it is damaging to mind. No, you're not questioning things, you're ignoring things. There's a difference. Flat earth is a plague on our planet. And it not only is it a ridiculous conspiracy theory, but it is something that has ruined lives. It has caused people to lose their families, lose their loved ones, lose their homes, their jobs. And you are quite content to go online and say this stuff is true and potentially give more people a chance to lose their life and their loved ones and their home
Well, it
because
is a test. It tests how dedicated people are to the truth and whether
but
they're willing to,
you don't care about the
debate
truth.
flat versus
Wait,
round. And
Lemonbird.
people that love the lie will be like, you
No,
know what, you
Lemonbird, I'm
sound
sorry.
crazy, get
I'm
out of
sorry.
society.
Stop.
And so, it really separates the wheat from the chaff and see if people are really acting in love and truth or just,
You don't
NASA
care.
fanboydom
Sorry,
and
Lemonbird.
indoctrination.
Lemonbird, you don't care about truth. I've just told you that. You've told me that you don't care about truth because you only look at it from a flat Earth perspective.
Oh, I care about the truth.
No, you
we'll
don't.
See, the truth will be.
No, I'm sorry, but
Hang
you've proven to me
on.
you don't care about the truth because you
Hang
only
on.
look at things from a flat Earth perspective, and that is not the way to find truth.
Well, wait. Here's a good way to test the validity of your claim of being about the truth. I'm going to ask you about 2 locations, Lemon, and I would like you to show us where there is a massive body of water to the east of both of these locations. Vandenberg Air Force Base, California, USA, and Kazakhstan.
Vandenberg, USA, isn't that close to the Atlantic Ocean?
That is in California.
Oh, Pacific Ocean.
No, to the east. Rockets launch and turn east. So where is the massive body of water in the middle of America to hide the rockets launched from California?
I'll give you a clue. There isn't one. Now, I'm going to test your knowledge of what we believe here, Lemonbird, because you claim to be searching for the truth. Now, to be able to do that, you have to understand the thing that you're arguing against. So, why do rockets go to the east? I don't want the flat Earth perspective here. I want what the scientific consensus here. Why do rockets go to the east?
To go with the rotation of the Earth and escape its gravity.
Well, you're not really going to escape its gravity, but the extra momentum of the Earth's spin does help you get into space, and that's why they fly east. So there's no great conspiracy there. It's just a fact. And let me ask you this question.
They do have a desert. Maybe the rockets touch down in the desert, maybe.
Well, no, because we see the rockets touch down now because they're reusable and we see where they touch down. We see them land on drone ships. Now, here's another thing. I've got another question for you. Well, gas comes out the back of a rocket. Yeah, you understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
As a pressure gradient lowers, what would happen to that gas coming out the back of a rocket?
It would come out faster?
No, it would come out more spread, right? Because as the gas is coming out, there's less, pressure, so there's more. The gas will spread out more. It's equalizing, like you said before. And Red's Rhetoric did a fantastic video. I wish I had it queued up here, but he recorded a rocket launch, and it just so happened that this particular rocket launch was up into space. Was the gas coming out the back got wider and wider and wider and wider until it was just a plume of massiveness, showing though that's not how it works. If there was our atmosphere that we have in a dome, it would be a constant pressure. I'm sorry, but that's a fact. You cannot just deny this because there's people down there and there's plants. There's still going to be an equal pressure. There is not going to be a difference of 14 psi. There is not going to be a difference of a whole atmosphere if the whole atmosphere is under the dome. You're ignoring the laws of thermodynamics, right? Lemonbird, you're quite happy to pick and choose science that you think or that you want to prove your fact, but you can't just pick and choose science. You have to be able to look at all of it objectively. So you have to explain how the laws of thermodynamics would allow for that system to exist, and it couldn't. The fact is that we're not in a closed system, Lemonbird. We're in an open system, and that is proven every day.
Well, you have to assume it's at the same scale. Even in quantum mechanics, you have something different happening on a small scale versus a large scale. Some things are scalable and go from small to large, some things don't. Maybe this pressure theory does not scale the same way if you're talking about a huge atmosphere with a dome.
There is
on
no
a flat
pressure
planet.
theory. There is no pressure theory. We know how pressure works. There is no misunderstandings or things to be discovered about pressure. We know how pressure works, Lemonbird. You are just making stuff up now. All right? There is no explanation for a pressure gradient within a closed system. I'm sorry, but you can't have that constant pressure gradient like that in a closed system. It just, unless there's like some transfer of energy from one point to another, there isn't like that pressure gradient. There is something causing that gradient. There is something holding that atmosphere to the Earth. There is something that is creating a higher pressure nearer the ground than away. And I don't care if you don't believe it, what it is, but it is a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared that is creating that pressure. And we call that 9.8 meters per second squared gravity, motherfucker.
Well, I'd rather cobble together some sort of electric theory.
Oh yes, I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would just rather cobble together some nonsense that you have no idea about. And that's the thing. I've just proven again that you have no interest in learning the truth, Lemonbird. You absolutely have no
I'm willing
interest.
to learn it from whatever perspective works, but maybe we can find something with the flat perspective as opposed to the round perspective.
No, but again, you're not looking for truth. Then what you're looking for is round. What you're looking for is proof of a flat Earth. You're not looking for the truth. You are just looking for one particular thing. Like what I've done, I've gone into this with I know that the Earth is a globe, but I've gone into the research and the maths and the physics with a open mind of it could be either way, and let's see what happens where the evidence takes me. And then you've got people like Red's Rhetoric, who has... Wait, I'm talking. You've got people like Red's Rhetoric, who has gone out and done the observations the flat earthers have been going on about for ages, right? And he went out there again, not to prove that the Earth was a globe. He went out there to try and prove what the flat earthers were saying. He went out there and he did the observations that the flat earthers were saying needed to be done. And do you know what happened when he did those observations? Turned out it was round. Turned out it was a globe. None of the observations comport to flat. So I just don't understand how you are just arguing, I'm going to take a bit of this and that I don't have any idea about, when it's been demonstrably proven that the Earth is a globe. You don't care about truth, Lemonbird. You don't care about truth in the slightest.
Well, how can you care about truth if you're an atheist? If you're separated from God, you're separated from the source of truth.
Again, I'm an atheist because...
and lost. But the point is...
No, wait. No. I'm going to answer your question. No, Lemonbird, I want to answer your question. All right? I'm an atheist because that's where I came to when the evidence led me here. I didn't just decide I fucking hate God, so I'm going to be an atheist. All right? From a young age, when going to church and that, all right, listened to all the stuff, and I never took it as fact, and I never completely dismissed it. But as I grew up, I looked into things more. I followed the evidence. I followed reality, and I followed, what I could actually see, prove, and test. And I'm sorry, but there is no God. And if there is a God, then I've got a question for him. And could you pass this question along? Can you ask me why my young sister has multiple sclerosis? Can you ask him why my young sister was the youngest person in Europe to be ever diagnosed with multiple sclerosis? Can you ask him why my young sister, who has never hurt a fly, why she has to suffer every single fucking day? Can you tell me? Can you tell God why, in His infinite fucking wisdom, He decided that this was okay? And while you're at it, go and ask Him why there's people that rape and murder children, and also why is there a species of fly that exists purely to eat the eyes of children in Africa that have a particular disease? Can you go and ask Him these things? Because if there is a God, then He's a fucking knobsack, and I have no intention of ever bowing down to that prick.
Well, rather than blame God, I would probably blame man's chemicals that are making people sick.
No, I'm sorry.
If you want to
do you know what multiple sclerosis is?
Why would he have to listen to you at all? he would probably say back to you, well, why don't you take responsibility for your own actions?
I do take responsibility for my own
the
actions.
way that you're destroying the world or making the world worse for other people.
Okay,
why would
right,
you
stop,
expect
stop,
me as the
stop,
creator
stop,
of the
stop,
universe
stop,
to
stop,
do this
stop,
when you
stop,
won't
stop,
take
stop.
responsibility on a small scale?
Lemonbird,
But
stop.
I guess you'd have to pray to God to figure out the answer, but I don't know.
No, right. All of that was complete nonsense. I have no intention of bowing down to a deity that is this shitty. All right. If he does exist, all right, I don't think that he does, because that's what an atheist is. You know, I can't 100% say that there is no greater power in the universe. Okay, but I can with 100% certainty say that we live on a globe in a solar system that is in a galaxy orbiting a massive black hole at the middle. I can say that with 100% certainty because humanity has worked at discovering these things and discovering the sciences and the maths and the physics. I know these things are facts because when I test reality, which, Lemonbird, you've never done, let's face it, you've never tested reality, all right? When I test reality, the evidence leads to a globe. It never leads to a flat Earth. Flat Earth doesn't have a model. Flat Earth cannot explain sunsets and sunrises. Flat Earth cannot. Cannot.
Yeah, it does.
Flat Earth cannot explain a shadow during the recent full eclipse. You know how
other eclipses, dark stars, invisible bodies up there that aren't part of our canon that are up there also.
Okay, but I'm sorry, but during the blood moon, where was the big red thing that went in front of the moon?
Different theories abound about that. Might be another eclipser. Could be passing a segment of the firmament that has some sort of red coloring. Who knows?
Who knows exactly? I'll tell you who knows. We do. Humanity knows.
Have a guess.
No, we don't have a guess. We don't have a guess. We don't have a guess. Lemonbird, I'm sorry, but we don't have a guess. We know. We know because we can test these things and observe them, and we know exactly what they are. You are just... You're just going...
I'm curious. Lemon, why do you say that all of the scientific knowledge that we have amassed are just a guess?
Well, I mean, look at the eclipse. An eclipse shouldn't last, a lunar eclipse shouldn't last more than 4 seconds, given the size of the moon and how fast the moon is orbiting at the equator.
Can I see your math? Lemonbird, can I see your math for that, please?
1,000 miles an hour
I'm
at
sorry.
the equator. So when it spins and passes, and the shadow of the moon passes the Earth, it shouldn't last more than 4 seconds. 4 times the spin of the Earth at the equator gives you about the diameter of the moon. So we have eclipses that last even longer than 4 minutes.
No,
this model is absurd and doesn't even work on certain levels. We need another model.
Lemonbird, stop. It works on every level. Those eclipses are all explained by our model. You keep saying that there's things that last longer than they should and that there's problems with the model. But there isn't problems with the model. They all comport with reality. We know what eclipses are and how they happen. We know how long each eclipse that we see should happen. We can accurately predict it and explain what it is. You keep saying that there's problems with the model, but there is none. What there's problems with is your understanding of the model. And because you don't understand it, and you have no intention of ever learning about it, it's flat. Because you have no intention of ever actually learning the truth. I normally make notes during debates, but
patience, Lemon, let him finish.
I normally write notes during debates, right? But you've given me fuck all to go on because you don't have any facts. You just have complete wild speculations. And every time I give you hard facts, your response has been, yeah, but what if this? It might be this, could be that. And then when I question you about that, about the particular things, you have no knowledge of those particular things. Are you saying that my degree in physics is fake and that it's just indoctrination? Because, like I said...
Some truth mixed with maybe some wrong things about the shape of the Earth?
But when all the maths and physics comport to reality and point to the Earth being a globe of circumference 25,000 miles an hour... 25,000 miles, sorry... spinning at 0.000694 RPM... That's what the evidence shows. And then all the pictures from space, all the videos from space. that are nothing to do with NASA, yet all show exactly the same thing. It's there, it's such a big conspiracy that you're talking about that involves such a large population of the planet that it's just the whole thing is fucking nonsense. You can't give me any hard facts, but I can give you hard facts. I can look at it from an intellectually honest, neutral position. You cannot. You have flat out told me that I'm not going to accept this a globe, and I'm only going to look at it from a flat Earth perspective. Frankly, frankly, at this point, nothing you say has any merit or anything to it, because you have proven that you don't give a fuck.
It's an intellectual framework for an alternative.
No, but
because maybe we've been going down a narrow path that's leading us to a cliff.
Hold up, gavel. You want to talk about intellectual frameworks? Okay. Question for you, Lemon. Has Fight the Flat Earth done everything he can to actually answer the questions that you have actually posed during the back and forth? Yes or no?
Yes.
So why do you not afford the same courtesy back to us? Because I asked you a question very directly before this whole thing about eclipses that you refused to answer.
What?
What is it about scientific progress to date in the modern era that you would say to justify your claim that it's all just a guess?
Because eclipses last longer than they would be predicted by this model.
I've just told you that's wrong. You can go and look at any eclipse, the tracker online and stuff, and they last exactly as long as our model predicts. You keep saying this, it lasts longer than it should, but it doesn't. You're just making that up. The eclipses last as long as they should based on our model. Fucking nonsense. Give me a fact. Just give me one single fact about Flat Earth that is undisputable. You can't, because there isn't any. Is everyone there?
I can still hear it.
Lemonbird? Has he ran away?
He's still in here.
You there, Lemonbird?
What?
Hello?
What was that?
Are you there? I can hear you now. You went away for a second. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Lemonbird, give me one undisputable fact about the flat Earth. Just one.
Let's see. The infrared tests.
No, I've already told you that the infrared tests actually show exactly what is to be expected based on the height that they are and everything. Again, if you actually research that video and photo you're talking about, you'll find that it was actually tests showing exactly what we expect. So, no. Next, please.
Gravity would pull Earth toward the sun in a way where only one face of the Earth would point to the sun.
No, again, you're wrong because you don't understand the model, and I've explained to you about the conservation of momentum. So, no, again, I want an undisputable fact.
That momentum will be conserved after all these millions and billions of years.
Do you not listen to anything that's told to you? What stops?
Was unsatisfactory, so I'm going to keep mine. It is what it is.
But I've explained to you exactly what it is. You're just ignoring facts at this point. The conservation of momentum works. The maths works out to show exactly how the Earth is spinning at the speed that it is. There is no opposing force to be stopping it in the way... Again, you are misunderstanding. You're trying to say it's not that because it should be like this, but you just don't understand the model. So, no. Next, please. I'm waiting for one undisputable fact. All right, I know. All right, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one question. All right, where exactly in the Bible, the exact words, does it say the Earth is flat?
There's a couple Bible verses. Joshua stopped the sun; he didn't stop the Earth.
No. Okay, that's not what I asked for. Lemonbird, stop. I want the exact words. The Earth is flat. Where in the Bible can I go to that it tells me the Earth is flat? Not that there was something about the sun moving or seeing the four corners of the Earth. I want the words from the Bible that say the Earth is flat.
Seal is flat and stamped. It's not
No,
too
okay,
globular.
I'm sorry, but that's not what I asked for. Can you tell me the exact place in the Bible where it says the Earth is flat or not? The exact words. I don't want any. Listen,
translation you go with, but
right,
in the King
Lemonbird,
James,
right? I'm gonna phrase this in a different way. All right. I don't want you to answer anything other than yes or no. Okay? Can you do that? Can you do that?
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I want you to tell me yes or no. Are the words "the Earth is flat" in the Bible?
No.
Well, there we go then. Your whole thing is debunked.
So,
I win.
Sphere in the Bible. By that bad logic, then you lose too.
No, because it doesn't say anything about the shape of the Earth in the Bible. That's not what the Bible's about.
Yeah.
Stretches it out. Nobody knows the measure of the
I'm
Earth.
sorry.
Lemonbird. One side is using the Bible to support their position. The other side is not. So please don't use a false equivocation like that.
Yeah, but he's just doing doubt. He's not really inserting anything. It's just negative vacuum force. It's like the magical force.
There is no negative. You can't have a negative vacuum force. What are you even talking about? You're making up things now.
You just insert whatever you want to in there. Where's the objective reality here?
I've explained to you where the objective reality is. The objective reality is that you can test, measure, and observe that we live on a globe that is spinning and traveling throughout our galaxy. That is the testable, observable, measurable, objective reality that we live in. And I've explained to you how that is so.
The 2D object.
Say again?
How about the circle of the Earth? A circle is a 2D object.
Which would be your horizon.
Yeah.
You spin in a circle from a single point.
Yeah, your horizon is a 2D shape. Right, let me explain to you. Wait. I am going to answer what you're talking about there, because I'm pretty sure that the passage you're referring to is about the circle of Earth. Okay. Now, when you actually look into the original translations of that, it is actually talking about the circle of sight of Earth, and it's talking about the horizon that it can see. Now, the horizon is a cross-section of a globe. A cross-section is a 2D shape. It's a circle. It's flat. Of course the horizon is flat. Now, the Bible doesnot say it's flat. So, unless you can show me the exact... No, Lemonbird. Right? I'm not going to let you use some false equivocation here, okay? I'm not going to let you try and straw man this. I'm not going to let you try and use interpretations, right? No. Please, I am talking.
Object what you say and use faith to shore up my perspective.
You don't have a perspective.
Don't have anything positive to put into the vacuum void. No, thank you.
What you are misunderstanding how reality and physics actually works. I want to stick to the Bible right now, because unless you can show me the words, where in the Bible that it says the Earth is flat, then you do not have a claim about the Bible. Because 99.999% of the people that follow the Bible also don't think that the Earth is flat. Okay? There is such a small idiot fringe. Hey, I'm talking. If you talk over me again, I'm going to get really fucking pissed off at you, okay? Because you're being a disrespectful, arrogant idiot, and I'm getting annoyed with you. Stop talking over me, okay? If you can't show me the exact words in the Bible, the Earth is flat, you cannot use the Bible and God as proof of the Earth being flat. Stop being so intellectually dishonest.
The prescription of my enemy. The Bible appears to point to a flat Earth.
No, it doesn't. 99.99999% of people that subscribe to the Bible disagree with you. You're making shit up. You are making your own assertions out of a storybook. A storybook written over 1,500 years by 40 people. A storybook that constantly contradicts itself. A storybook that the second half is pretty much just a copy of the first half, written from a different perspective. A book that says it's okay to beat your slave to death. A book that says that God got angry and wiped out humanity with a flood that there's not any evidence for ever. A book that has no scientific merit and should never ever be brought into the arena of the question of what shape the Earth is. You cannot use the Bible, and I'm not letting you. silence.
Well, whenever you're ready, Craig, I did grab a question from the live chat
Yeah,
earlier
go ahead.
that I feel would be the perfect ending for this.
Okay. And then we can read off the super chats.
And it is primarily a question for Lemonbird, but you're free to answer it.
Okay.
Oh, you're ready to hear it now?
Yeah, I'll do it now as Lemonbird.
So this is from Lint Hassenpfeffer, or Hassenpfeffer. How do these people not drown in the rain?
What, flat earthers?
Yep.
I know, right?
I don't know. Did you have an answer for that? Fight the flat Earth?
Yeah, I've got an answer. Because of technology developed by people that believe the Earth is round. Because, you know, most people do. I bet all the people that make umbrellas know that the Earth is round. So the reason flat earthers don't drown in the rain is because the Earth isn't flat. I've got another question for you though, Lemonbird. How do you tie your own shoelaces?
One lace in front of the other.
Yeah, I probably don't think you can. Like, I think we have to start bringing this to an end because it's been an entire clusterfuck of Lemonbird getting 100% owned by me. And I think even you can see that, Lemonbird, because I've answered all your questions. I've responded to all your idiotic assumptions. I have proven that the Bible is not a flat earth book. I have destroyed every silly little thing that you have to say about the earth being flat. I have proven that you don't care about the truth, that you're intellectually dishonest, that you have no knowledge about the things that you're talking about, you have no intention of learning about the things that you're talking about. You don't care about what anything or anyone says unless, for some reason, in your stupid little pea brain, it proves the earth is flat. You are a fucking idiot.
Ding!
Well,
no, I'm sorry.
So
there's no response to that, really.
What
you can do is you can
that you are a materialistic atheist who will believe anything but God, including the absurd heliocentric falsehood. But good luck to you and your Helios.
Well, I've just proven that everything you said there was complete rubbish. Again.
Not really.
Yeah, absolutely. Frankly, Lemonbird,
No.
I've made you my bitch. I have made you my bitch so hard.
Don't fight it. Join the flat earth. Don't fight it.
Well, no. And let me explain.
Sorry,
let me explain about my name for a second and fight the flat earth.
Sorry, Lemon. That sounded really right.
Yeah. Let me explain to you about what Fight the Flat Earth is. Fight the Flat Earth is about stupidity and how it shouldn't be a thing. Because the tools for you to find out these things are there. But what I've discovered in my 2 and a bit months of being on YouTube as an anti-flat earther is that flat earthers have no intention of doing research. Flat earthers have no intention of actually looking objectively at things. Flat earthers are dishonest and either lying about what they think or unwilling to learn. So, I'm sorry, but that's why I fight the flat earth, because that kind of stupidity is dangerous. If you want to keep it to yourself, if you want to live in a shack in the woods and believe the earth is flat, brilliant, go and do that. But the second you people want to come online and push this as truth, then I'm going to come online and I'm going to rip apart everything you say. Nothing that you have said here today would give anyone any indication to even want to look into flat earth. In fact, if there was any people in the watching this that weren't sure, they would 100% now be a globe earther, because you've not presented anything or any kind of reason for people to believe in the flat earth or even to want to look into the flat earth. I encourage people to look into the flat earth because that's what I've done. But I can tell you now, Lemonbird, you have never looked into the flat earth. And I don't care what you say, that is a fact.
Well,
right. Hold on, Lemon. I think we should give you guys 2 minutes each to say your final farewells.
Lemonbird may go first.
Thanks for having me on. We got to fight this 500-year Jesuit deception to lead people to atheism and away from Christ, or at the very least, form an irreconcilable tension in the Christian to either reconcile with the Holy Scriptures and God, or try to reconcile with man's science. Some people fall under this pressure, buckle, and become atheists. Some manage to maintain faith, but it's a toss up. And
Faith,
maybe we
yeah.
can bring people back to God with the truth, flat Earth or no.
Okay, is that it?
Join the flat Earth.
Yeah, people aren't going to
Alrighty.
do that, you know. Well, my closing statement is that I encourage people to never believe what they are told. I encourage people to explore the world that they are in and test the world that they are in. I encourage people to increase their knowledge about the world around them and to increase their understanding of why things are the way they are. Because if you increase your knowledge and you actually research and look into these things with an open and honest and intellectually honest position, there is only ever one outcome that you arrive at. Whether you are religious or not, I'm an atheist, yes, but whether you are religious or not, if you actually look into this from an intellectually honest, neutral position and you follow the evidence through instead of just accepting some nonsense someone's told you on Facebook or YouTube, then you will always arrive at the conclusion that we live on an oblate spheroid with a circumference of 25,000 miles that spins at 0.000694 RPM, travels around our sun, which travels through our galaxy, which is expanding through the universe. Every bit of technology that has ever been invented has been done by a globe earther. All technology that is invented is helping society understand the world around them. Yeah, there seems to be this. Well, one word. There seems to be this attack on stupidity. Attack on intelligence at the moment. There seems to be an attack on, oh, you're smart, or you think you're smart, so you're stupid, and that is so retarded. I'm done.
All right. Do we want to take a few minutes and read out some of those super?
Yeah, let me get the Streamlabs thing back up. One sec.
While he gets the super chats, I'm going to go ahead and do a little plug here. Posting a link into the live chat. That link is to our after show. We're going to be having a small little get together within the voice chat.
Right. Where do I go to see the super chats again on there?
We're living on a disc, floating through space with a tiny sun.
Why is my outro playing?
It shouldn't be playing.
Like 2 seconds. I'm just trying to find where the
Streamlabs on Chrome.
Yeah. And where do I go to get the super chats?
Left hand side, you should see Jared.
Donations. Then
Donations,
select super chats and
Jared,
scroll all the way down.
Donations.
Yes, I am.
We're live.
Oh, I was enjoying the show on the watch page.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm struggling to. What's going on here?
To be fair,
Well,
I did throw that together on you last minute before we started the stream, so he has no idea how to use the software.
Donation ticker, is that it? What I'm looking for?
1 second. Share your screen if you can.
All right, 2 secs. Give me a sec, guys, and we'll read out your super chats. Let me find where the
Totally unprofessional.
Oh wait, we're on Discord, aren't we? So
yes,
I can share the screen on there.
Yes. Everyone #blame Craig.
Right, there we go. Turn on screen share.
I'm gonna make that a thing.
Yeah.
Just like #it's a mullet.
Okay, you see the screen?
Okay. Yep, can see it. So go ahead and go over to the browser. Yeah, so nope, close the widgets. Go to my account.
My donation.
My donation. And super chats.
There we go.
There you go. Completely unacceptable, Greg.
Right, I'm sorry. Okay, now where are we? So we're going from there. Right, okay. Hawkeye 11871, No Mercy FTFE. Yeah, I think I've shown No Mercy. From Rocket Scientist, who's actually a real rocket scientist, €10. Please ask Lemon to explain the Earth curvature shown during an eclipse. He couldn't. He just made up some nonsense about something in the sky. Leslie Russell, $5 with no message. Thank you very much. Trevor Robinson, $20. Thank you. Go buy another bottle of booze. I think you're going to need it. Yeah. I think I've gone through a fair bit of my wife's tequila there. Leslie Russell, $5. Artfully worded diarrhea. Yeah, that's about Lemon face in a... there you go. CR True 64, $20. Thank you very much. Just supporting your channel, hoping I can help you continue the good fight. Trust me, I'm going to kill Flat Earth. Hawkeye 11871, $5. FTFE, Total Destruction, mate. Fantastic job. You're welcome. I had great fun destroying that idiot. Demonic Davros, $10 Australian. The circle of the echo chamber is strong with this flat earth. How does his god explain black holes and gravitational lensing? It can't, because it's magic. He keeps saying I invoke magic gravity, but he just says, but God did it. Trevor Robinson, $20. Man, 2 hours of this, sir. Seriously, go buy yourself another bottle. Yeah, 2 hours. However, on the Non Sequitur show on Saturday, if you guys don't know, I will be doing 6 hours of back-to-back debates, followed by an after show. So probably about 8 hours on the Non Sequitur show. Monkey Sage, $10. That was a really good stream. Good job, Craig. Thank you very much. Scrap the Skeptic Squirrel, $2. No message. And another one's just come in. $50 from Tim Hill. Well done. Thank you very much. Guys, I've had a great time tonight. I think it's been obvious that Lemonbird was destroyed. This week has been my 5,000 subs celebration. And I've had a real blast doing it so far. Monday, me and Brainy Beaver put out a video about CC from New York. Tuesday, me and Radical the Unhallowed Knight put out a video about Edgewise, who thinks dragons made flat Earth. Yesterday, me and Team Skeptic went head to head trying to prove whose country's Nathan was the dumbest. If you want to watch that video, there's actually a vote in the community tab as to who is the dumbest, UK or USA, and I'll be revealing the winner on the Non Sequitur show on Saturday. Today's obviously been this dumpster fire. Tomorrow is Validation Boy made a video about me and likened me to Hitler, said that I'm faking my disability and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's going to really regret that. So you do not want to miss 7 p.m. EST tomorrow. I'm going to be premiering Validation Boy's video. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Jared, thank you very much for moderating. And Look a Pig, thank you very much for setting this all up for me. You got any words, Jared?
Ow.
That about does it. Thank you for all your support in the chat, guys, as well. I haven't had a chance to keep an eye on it because obviously I've been debating.
To fucking shotgun that glass of alcohol. I'm just saying. You need something to put yourself to sleep.
I'm gonna just do a shot for good measure for you guys, and then we'll end the stream there. Okay. So thank you to Good Health, and please come back tomorrow and go and check out the rest of the week. See you later.
Have to save those brain cells somehow.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.